трябва сега да се пречупя на английски. Как е удачно да започна? As a colleague of mine likes to say, good morning. To my Bulgarian viewers, sorry guys, but for these type of videos, I will have to speak in English. Most of our buyers, they don't like subtitles. What we are about to show you today is a new product for the OM605 and 606 family. I have our current manifolds that we are already selling on our website, and I have the two types of the new version. What we are announcing today is our water-to-air intake manifolds. On this one we have water inlets and outlet ports. You can also find on this one too. It's just a manifold with a different type of plenum type, size and intake flange position. We initially came up with this manifold. What you see here is our OM606, the 6-cylinder version of our short runner intake manifold. About its pros and cons compared to the factory one. If you ask me, since I'm a guy who is building fast cars, I'm always track oriented, I'm always about speed, about efficiency. The only positive of this manifold is that it's light compared to the factory one. I wouldn't say it has any performance benefits besides that it gives you access to the fuel pump, because as you can see, it's super short, it's super narrow. You can access your fuel lines super easy. For the OM605 and 606 engines, this is a big plus, especially with the tight chassis and off-road jeeps and some stuff like that. The second product we came up with is the so-called Midrunner intake. This manifold, I would say, has all the benefits. It has its intake charge pipe, you know, the air inlet on the right side. And it has for me, as a racer, the necessary runner length for the OM605 and 606. These engines, they are not like the modern CDI ones. They like to breathe in the mid and high RPM. What we've seen with time, I'm not a diesel engine builder, but I have many friends, many clients. After all, the thermodynamics laws, what goes for the petrol also goes for the diesel engines. And the camshafts, the breathing geometry of the cylinder head, the valve size, the degree and timing of the camshafts, and the fuel injection type limits the OM605 and 606 being an engines that cannot produce super low-end power. What we've seen is even if you give these engines 2 bars of boost at 1000 RPM, you will not see something magically happen. Whatever the case is, these engines start to shine. If I have to be honest, after 3000 RPM. So what I like to tell our customers is these engines, they are diesel engines who pretend to be petrol ones. And I'm sorry for that. If it makes if your butt hurt from hearing this. This, I would say, is the best runner length type for these type of engines. We saw a demand on the market. Many of our clients, they wanted a water-to-air intake manifold. And for years I've been avoiding this because it adds tons of complexity in the system, and me as a race guy, as a race pilot and technician and an engineer, I don't like complexity. But the market needs this, and we made it happen. The water-to-air intercoolers are not so complex system, but again, for me, it's too much. We've tried to make the manifolds as compact as possible without sacrificing performance. So we have some runner length. Unfortunately, that's something like 150 millimeters, which is not the 250 that I usually aim for these engines, but that's the maximum we can do with having a decent size water cooler, a plenum volume, without exceeding the line of the OM manifold. If I have to be honest, this manifold is shorter than the OM one, so you will be able to fit it almost every off-road application, like the G-Wagon, like the Jeep, you know, the small and tight chassis. We 3D scanned the engine base of different cars. We did some measurement and did our best. What we have here is a manifold with a decent runner length, a core that can sustain much more than I think these engines can sustain. What you see here is the 5-cylinder version, which is still in a prototype phase, but we are nearly ready with it. This core, it can easily support up to 600 horsepower. And I say this conservatively, believe me. If you check some of the popular brands like Garrett, they will sell you a 1000 horsepower core with size smaller than this one. And if we speak about technology, it's another thing, but I will not open up to that because it will make the video 30 minutes long. What we use on this side is AN10 fittings, which we will support with the intakes. We've made it work around. You see this bend here. I know it's not pretty, but it's necessary so we can use the OM filter housing of the 605. And since we are very close, we wanted to make the cooler inside as big as possible. You will have some interference issues with the fuel lines on this side, because on this side of the engine usually sits the fuel filter if it's not relocated. But we will support you with the necessary adapters and fittings to make things work. Everything as bolt-on as possible as we can. You will once again get the necessary hardware for this, because for these places you can use the OM bolts, but here, as you can see, these are much longer. We always supply hardware with our manifolds, and for these long holes here, we give you these M8 bolts, which are retreaded to M7 at the front. So what you actually get is a bigger 8.5mm hole with this special bolt, if I can say it this way. And the good thing is, if you have a damaged thread, many of these are damaged already, you just buy a standard M8 bolt, put the top on, make an M8 thread on the cylinder head, and just throw this bolt away, use a standard one, and the manifold will be already drilled to use it. So this, I think, is the most universal solution for everybody. What you see here is the same runner type, the same core, but with a different type of plenum and charge pipe. Personally, if you ask me, I don't know why you would make a water intercooling design with an intake pipe facing this way, because you obviously do not have an air intercooler at the front anymore. I don't know why, but we decided to make 4 versions of the manifold. So we will have one facing this way, we will have one where you rotate the plenum, and we weld it facing this way for some of you, if they want. And the most common one, I think, will be this one. We have it facing upwards, and we will also weld it facing downwards. That's why they will be welded and painted per order, which means we will have a week or 2 lead time, worst case scenario, I would say, for any of them, only because of that. Also, many of our clients asked if we can paint them in the Caterpillar yellow or with the Ferrari red, you know, the blood red color. We will get these, and in time we will also have them available for purchase. By the moment this video is released, these products will not be still available for purchase. We will need a week or 2 more to start producing them, because we are making some final you know, design tweaks. We are also, because after all this thing is getting heavy, and we will make some kind of supports here, because the OM manifold is supported from the bottom, and we will try to make supports and brackets which will be fastened to the OEM manifold fastening points, because we want to relieve the stress from these bolts and studs. I think I have everything covered. With the intakes, we really don't think the OM605 and 606 family needs anything more than this. So, because you have something short and which is compact and it works, it still works. We have something with performance in mind, and we have also something with performance and efficiency in mind, because as you may not know, the water-to-air intercooling systems are much more efficient. Yes, they are more complex because they have water pump, they have another reservoir with water radiator at the front, but that's why all the modern cars, all the high-performance cars from the market nowadays are made with water intercoolers, because the efficiency is much better. I know there are people telling you, speaking about flow data and making experiments, but many of you don't know that in terms of charge pipe position, and I have seen the debates, and this is in fact true about the atmospheric engines. If you have your charge pipe, let's say here, of course, when in atmospheric pressure, when the engine is naturally aspirated, you will have very bad breathing, if I can say this way, for the last cylinders, those who are the farthest away. But with pressure, when you apply boost, these things get, the more pressure you get, the more RPM you get, these things get less and less in play. What most of you don't know, and many of the aftermarket parts producers, fabricators do not know, often when they speak about runner length, is that, let's say we have a 100 millimeter long runner length, and which is super short for an NA engine. But when you apply boost to the intake, what people with machines, experience and knowledge find out, that if you apply 3 bar of boost in the intake, you actually get the manifold with a 100 millimeter length runner to behave as if it has a 300 millimeter length runner port. So actually, when you apply boost, the more boost you have, the more artificial you actually lengthen your runner. With these manifolds, the more boost you apply with it, the better things get, and the more power band and efficiency you will actually have in the mid to low RPM. So keep that in mind when you're building your car, and also keep that in mind when people and aftermarket shops, you know, suppliers, companies like ours speak to you about runner length and airflow. What I've seen many people do is polishing the inside of the manifolds. I don't have problem with that. If I have to be honest, it probably makes things better by 1% or half. We've done most of the polishing that's necessary on the intake runners, but please, what I want to tell you is, do not do this with these 2 manifolds, with the water inlet types, because whatever you do, like grinding, sanding, 100% some debris will enter the water core, and it might end up in your engine. So please avoid that with the water intakes. Pukni si je, nema. We will always try to give you the best performance possible without ripping your wallet in two. If you have any issues or questions or whatever, we will always also give you the best. I believe we give the best customer service on the market at the moment. So we're good and honest people. So yeah, thank you for the support and thank you for watching.